It's the most magical time of the year, and I'm not talking about Christmas. I'm talking about the NFL season. So make sure you're ready with NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV. Get the most live NFL games all in one place. Right now, you can save $85 when you bundle NFL Sunday Ticket with YouTube TV. Sign up today at youtubetv.com/Spotify. Device and content restrictions apply. Discount applied to first 4 months of YouTube TV, then $72.99 a month. Ends August 29th. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. No refunds.
School is back, and Dick's Sporting Goods has what you need to win your year. We've got everything from cleats to Sambas, dunks, and more. Plus, the hottest looks from Nike, Jordan, and Adidas. Find your first day fits in-store or online at dicks.com.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold! Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See detail.
Hello and welcome to the 1865 Nottingham Forest podcast. Now, we've got a fantastic new series that we're really excited about. I'll be your host today. It's Adam, and I'm joined by Ellie. So first of all, Ellie, how are you?
I am fabulous, thank you very much.
Good stuff. Are you excited to be doing our new show, talking about the Forest women's team?
Yeah, I have wanted to see this happen for a while, and it's so excited that finally we get to talk about the women's team and all the incredible things that they've been up to. It's been a crazy summer for Nottingham Forest women.
It absolutely has, and we're going to go through all of that. So we're going to be bringing you a weekly roundup of the Forest women's team. So anything from their games to transfers or anything in between, we're going to bring you that every single week. So without further ado, we'll get into it, and we're going to start by talking about the summer transfer window for the women. So they signed 12 players. They were Amy Sims, Melissa Johnson, Millie Chandara, Charlie Wellens, Naomi Badu, Kate Longhurst, Bridget Galloway, Alice Keatley, Cara Hamilton, Georgie Ferguson, Holly Mears, and Katie Dungate. We've got a couple that we want to highlight for you first of all. So for anyone listening to this that isn't too familiar with the Forest women's team or isn't too familiar with the women's game in general, we're going to go through these players and you're going to learn a little bit more about them. So firstly, we want to talk to you about the first signing of the summer, which was Amy Sims. Now, the midfielder arrived on Trent's side after scoring 40 goals over the past 2 seasons, including winning the Northern Premier League Golden Boot in 22-23. She, of course, joined from Derby, so weakening a league rival whilst adding goals to the Reds' midfield is fantastic. Yes, she's a midfielder with that goal tally. It's insane. She could have gone to a WSL side. She could have gone to a championship side potentially, so it's a massive coup for Forest. They're only 25 years old. Sims was a Derby captain, so not only does she bring goals, but she brings leadership. Ellie, this is a signing of intent, isn't it, by the Forest women's team here?
What a start to the transfer window. Honestly, like first signing to sign Amy Sims is insane work. And like you mentioned, 40 goals over the past 2 seasons. It's worth highlighting as well if you're not familiar with the women's game or you're new to it. The women's game, league games have significantly less games a season, especially at this level. So it's usually 22 games a season. So when you look at those numbers of 40 goals over 2 seasons, that is actually a ridiculous sum, to say the very least. So what a fantastic start to the summer.
Yeah, it's an unbelievable bit of business, and it doesn't stop there. So we're going to talk to you next about Melissa Johnson. Now, Melissa Johnson has played for Bristol City, Sheffield United, Villa in the 2nd tier. If you're not aware, Forest currently play in the 3rd tier. So Johnson won the Championship Golden Boot in 22-23, which is the league above Forest currently. She's a prolific goal scorer in the Championship and has the firepower to fire the Reds to promotion this season. She's got experience of winning the Championship twice in her career as well, and adds a wealth of attacking talent to Carly Davis's disposal. Now, signing a striker that was the Golden Boot, the league above you, is equivalent to like Preston signing Haaland. It's not bad, is it, really, for a bit of business?
It'll do, won't it? It's honestly, when you hear the signings that we're making, you can't help but be excited because, like you say, what a ridiculous signing to make in the best way possible when I say that. Because really, in the league that we're in, we technically have no right to be making signings like we are doing. But it shows real intent from Forest that we want to get promoted. And I have absolutely no doubt that we will get promoted. And that not only do we want to get promoted, but maybe even push for I mean, call me crazy. Maybe I'm getting way too excited. I probably definitely am. But it shows that we're not just trying to get promoted once, but we're trying to establish ourselves at least in the championship. I really am excited about the signings that we're making.
I mean, for sure. I mean, obviously being the professional standard now as well, it's big for the club, and getting promoted once is great, and the dream, that Marinakis has said is the WSL, so that's the long-term goal. Now, the last signing we want to highlight is Charlie Wellens. Now, she arrived at the City Ground having played in the top division in England and Scotland. She's now 26 years old, but she's made the move across the border to Scotland previously and played for the Women's Premier League team Celtic. She enjoyed a brilliant stint in Glasgow. She scored 40 goals in 34 appearances. She won the Scottish Cup, the SWPL Cup, and she was named in the PFA Scotland Team of the Year in 2022. Since then, she's been in the WSL with Reading. So again, another coup for Forest to get such an impressive goal scorer who's scored at the highest level. She's not made a Lioness appearance yet, but she has represented the Lionesses at under 21 level. She could be a massive, massive part of this side next season. So again, Ellie, just more firepower to add to this already prolific looking side.
You can't help but get excited, can you? Like, I feel like I can't add much more than, oh my goodness, how have we managed these signings? Because you hear those stats and it's just insane. And the type of players that we're signing are, like you mentioned, top divisions, literally leagues above us. And I think it really shows from Forest an intent, like you mentioned about Marinakis, the long-term vision is to be in the WSL. And I think the players must really believe that it is possible because players of that caliber coming to Forest, they must believe in the dream. They must do because they're so good. And I'm just so excited for this season. I'm far too positive and excited. I don't think I've ever been this excited about Forest.
And we both got our season tickets this year, so it'd be very exciting. So we do want to talk to you now about the first game of the season. Now, this one was away at Stoke. Now, the last season, the Forest women went over to the Bet 365 Stadium and they beat Stoke 5-1. So they're probably thinking this season a similar sort of result. So the starting 11 of the season saw 6 new signings make their Forest debut. Kay Longhurst, Mel Johnson, Charlie Wellens, Millie Chundara, Cara Hamilton and Amy Sims were all given their first competitive minutes by the Reds head coach Carly Davis. Truth be told, it was a very quiet first half with Forest having most of the ball, and the first real chance the game came to new signing Charlie Wellens. She had an amazing opening that unfortunately went begging, just smashing a well-hit strike past the post after a clever corner routine by the Reds. She then had another chance after a brilliant teasing ball in by Mel Johnson was met by Wellens, but she just couldn't direct the ball goalwards. So a little bit of the early play was by the visiting side. New signing Amy Sims was a bright spark in the first half for the Navy and Pink Forest. She had a brilliant run down the wing and crossed towards the back post where Freya Thomas met the ball, but just couldn't put Forest in front, directing a shot wide of the mark. So at half-time, it was 0-0. Stoke were probably absolutely delighted with that half-time scoreline. Ellie, frustrating first half, really, because going in at 0-0, we had all the chances really to really make the mark on the game and put ourselves in the lead going into the break.
Absolutely. But it's frustrating in the best way possible. I think I'd much rather feel frustrated that we haven't scored, but should have and had all these opportunities and looked really bright than be grateful that we held on. So I think it's very exciting. And as we know, things got only more exciting from there.
But it's almost the polar opposite to the men's team, isn't it, really? Because we're not used to controlling games, are we?
I'm glad you did. I was thinking it.
Yeah, no, controlling games is not something that we're used to. So if you want to see that with a Forest side, absolutely come and watch the women play because they did control this first half. Now, second half saw Sophie Domingo introduced to the game, and she looked really bright when she came on. Her fantastic football was on show. She had an early mazy run beating a few Stoke defenders, real women against girls type stuff, but she just couldn't find the finish at the end. But in the 59th minute, Forest finally did take a very well-deserved leave for an absolutely fantastic strike by Nat Johnson. She absolutely smashed it into an effort into the bottom corner and had the Reds breakthrough that they deserved. Ellie, what a fantastic strike this was.
Oh my good. I watching the goal over is just ridiculous. And what's wild is it wasn't even a best goal of the day. It was such a good, it was how many yards out? It must have been 25 at least, surely. And from a fullback as well. Absolutely insane. And how exciting is that to know that not all your goals are coming from necessarily the strikers. You've got to be in fear of the fullbacks too.
I think it's fantastic to see because you're looking at it thinking that we do actually have so much firepower going forward anyway from your forward players. And then you've got your fullback that can chip in with a goal like that. I mean, like you just mentioned there, she did get the second goal as well, capping off what was a true woman of the match performance, going forward and backwards. Nat Johnson did double the Forest lead with a goal, even better than the first, like we say, for a long way out, making the Reds lead even more comfortable and more reflective of the game. The strike was a good at least 30 yards out and left the Stoke goalkeeper with very little she could do. Ellie, this was just, it must have been over 30 yards, this one, and it was just hit so sweet.
Absolutely. Like you say, there was nothing the Stoke keeper could do about that one. It was so perfect. It's sort of, I'm not sure how to describe it, kind of not looped. It was hit very hard and went over the keeper's head. There was very little she could do to get there. And the audacity to strike from 30 yards out as a fullback is, I love it. I just love it so much. The bravery and to score a second goal of the day, two outstanding goals is insane. Like say, a woman of the match performance. What a way to start the season. And with all these new signings, I think we haven't even spoken about the fact that, like you mentioned, 6 new signings started and already to control the game so well, be so comfortable, despite having so many new players in the first team lineup, is incredible. I mean, they're clearly working together very, very well to get results like they are.
But it's absolutely an encouraging start to the league season, and to have one of your better players from previous seasons go and do that was great to see. Now Forest did soon find their third goal as well. The Reds were given a penalty correctly when Freya Thomas was brought down. You've seen these ones 1,000,001 times. She gets a toe to the ball first, defender comes across, takes her out. Obvious penalty. After a bit of deliberation, Charlie Welling stepped up on her debut and hammered the ball home to make it 3 for the Reds. It did look like Forest then had a fourth goal when ex-WSL forward Charlie Welling stroked home her second of the game, but a shame for Charlie. Unfortunately, the goal was chalked off for offside. Looked about the right call, Ellie. I don't think the women on the pitch were very happy with the decision. Don't get me wrong, but
No,
watching the replay, it was probably the right call.
Yeah, I think it was marginal, but it was the right call. But I can imagine when you're on the pitch, you don't have quite the view that obviously the linesman has. So it might feel unjust at the time, but upon watching getting the camera angles, you can see that it was actually offside. But it was close, which is still promising. I know it's not a fourth goal. What a ridiculous statement to say. Oh no, it's not a fourth goal. But the fact that we were able to create a chance like that, just unfortunately very slightly offside, it's still encouraging. Eventually, I'm sure we convert those close opportunities that were marginally offside, learn a lesson, and that's a goal next time, I'm sure.
Well, this is it. I mean, in football, your first game of the season, you can still be figuring stuff out. You've just come back from pre-season. You've got things to figure out. But Sophie Domingo had a great opportunity at the end to make it 4. this time this one would have counted, absolutely, but she fired a shot over the bar from 10 yards out. Bright performance by her, though, Elliot, and I think that's it. It shows that there'll be more to come, Sophie, this season, and she will get a goal in the next game, I'm sure.
Exactly. It's the first game of the season. I think to perform how we have is incredible, and we were already 3-0 up. It's not like we were desperate for that goal, if you know what I mean, and where it really matters. We're just nitpicking now, really. So I'm sure it's the first game of the season, and what a promising start. It can only get better from here.
I think this is the real positive way to look at this, is that we won 3-0 away, and we're looking at, could we have got a fourth? Could we have got a fifth? And that's a really positive place to be in. But that was it. That was the end of the game. It's 3-0 to Forest. They were well due that win. They were big deserved winners in the end, and it could in truth have been more. We're going to take a quick break now, and then we're going to preview the Khalsa game on Sunday back at the City Ground.
This episode is brought to you by Honda. When you test drive the all-new Prologue EV, there's a lot that can impress you about it. There's the class-leading passenger space, the clean, thoughtful design, and the intuitive technology. But out of everything, what you'll really love most is that it's a Honda. Visit honda.com/EV to see offers.
You're listening to 1865, the Nottingham Forest podcast.
And we're back for the Khalsa preview. Now, Forest women return to the City Ground on Sunday as they host Sporting Khalsa. Now, Khalsa look to bounce back after being well beaten 4-1 by Forest East Midlands rivals Derby. Last season, Forest beat Sporting Khalsa 3-2 at Grange Park and looked to make it 2 from 2. Forest hoping for promotion to the Barclays Women's Championship this season after winning 13 of their 14 fixtures last year at Grange Park last season. Home form will surely be vital to that. So, Ellie, how important is it for the women to make the City Ground the same fortress that they made Grange Park last year?
Oh, it's absolutely crucial. I think you see it in anything, really. Your home ground needs to be your fortress. It's where you've got your fans behind you. And Nottingham Forest women do have a very good following at the City Ground. When we have been there, we've seen up to 6,000 fans, I think slightly over actually, is the record. So with all those fans behind you, I think it would be hard not to perform. And given the score of the last game, 3-0, kept a clean sheet and scored 3 goals, and like you say, easily could have been 4 or 5. I'm far too confident for this game. I'm expecting a win. I'm expecting a comfortable win. So it's crucial that they win, and I'm sure that they know that, but I don't think they're going to be stressed about it. I think they're confident, and they have every right to be.
Absolutely. And, if you're listening to this podcast and you're thinking, I've quite enjoyed the sound of this Forest women's team, get yourself down to the City Ground on Sunday. It's 2:00 kickoff. If you're a season ticket holder, you can get into this game for free. If you've not already bought your women's season ticket, they are a reduced price for season ticket holders and members. You can also get a student price as well, which I think Ellie took advantage of.
Yeah, I did.
So absolutely get yourself down and, support these women. We're going to have a fantastic season coming up this year, and it's going to be an absolute pleasure to be a part of it and to be bringing you this update every single week. Now, Ellie, if I had to push you for a score prediction for the Khalsa game, I know you probably thought you got away with it there, but if I could push you for a score prediction, what do you reckon for Sunday?
See, I'm really cocky about this. I'm way too confident, and I'm almost scared I'll jinx it, because I think we have every right to win 4-0. I honestly, I think maybe that's the craziest. I don't think I've ever predicted a 4-0 win in any match ever for any team. So is that a crazy prediction? On paper, yes. But when you look at the players we have, the fact that we're professional, the fact that we're at home, the first home game of the season is always so exciting, so loud. The fans are always, much louder the first game of the season. We're all excited to be back to watching football. So I'm going for 4-0, maybe like a 5-1, maybe, but I think a 4-0. I think it'll be comfortable.
I mean, to be honest, I do admire the confidence, but at the same time, it's a weird one this season, because the way that we're looking at this is that last season we were probably quite unfortunate to not get promoted. And, we just had some fantastic sides in the league. But this year we've got to go down as probably one of the favourites to win the league. Obviously with Rugby up there as well, they look a decent side this year. Derby, unfortunately, they're not a bad side, don't get me wrong. So it's a tough league this year, but I think that we are comfortably the best team in it, at least on paper. So I don't think there's anyone in this division that we should fear at home, certainly. It's a massive step up to see the women playing at the City Ground. It makes me proud as a fan that they're getting the chance to play at the City Ground and, getting to play all the home games at the City Ground this season, home league games, that is, anyway. It's going to be a really, really fantastic season. It's something that we're really excited for. But that is all we've got time for today. Ellie, thank you so much for joining me as my co-host here.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm very excited to be here, in case you couldn't tell.
No, we've been talking about this for a really long time. It's been a big plan over the summer, so to be able to actually record it and to get this out to you guys and girls, it's fantastic, and we're really excited. So coming up later this week, we will have your regular Friday 5 news roundup, and we'll bring you a match report from this weekend's game at Southampton, and we will be back next week with our match report from Khalsa at home. Until next time, thanks for listening, and come on, you Reds.
You Reds.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply.